First of all, I just want to really thank you for being on the podcast today, man. It's been really fun to kind of follow you through a connection of baseball that neither one of us really, I think, we're playing at the same time. But that's the great thing about baseball is how it can just span generations.
Yeah, that it does. When did you play? What year did you play?
So I got drafted my high school year, 95, went to junior college for 2 years. So I played, my first year was 97.
Okay. Well, you showed up the year I left. I finished up in 96, went home and had no idea I was done. But a few things happened in the off season, and I was tired on multiple levels, tired of being hurt, tired of being broke, tired of being gone from home. And the price I had to pay to do what I was doing, I just wasn't willing to pay it anymore. So I closed the chapter and moved on. So I finished in 96, and you showed up in 97. So.
Well, you and I have a lot of commonality. We're both left-handed, so that means we're both a little bit quirky.
And we're special.
We are definitely special. My mom used to tell me that every single day.
Yeah, and quirky. I will give you that. Left-handed pitchers were about as quirky as they came. There was no second.
So I want to stay on that subject just really quick. So when you were playing, did you have weird things that you did? Were you superstitious? Like what did that look like for you?
No, I never really was superstitious. And I was different. I mean, I had my own quirks. I was just, as my buddy Dan Ramirez put it when we got together a while back last year, and he's like, dude, you always were wired different. And it's just true. It's just kind of my approach to life. I've kind of always done my own thing. Yeah. I've kind of always danced to my own music. Never been a tremendous leader, but I've never ever been a follower. I was just kind of content to chart my own course, do my own thing. And, there were times I was surrounded by lots of friends. There were sometimes I was a guy that felt like I was completely on an island, even though I had a team full of guys with me. Just as the cultures on the team changed, but I wasn't really superstitious. I would actually kick the white line when I walked over it. I mean, instead of jumping over it, I kind of kick it.
That's how superstitious you were, is that you had to do the opposite.
Yeah, I could be. I didn't put my faith in suit. I had little things I'm sure I would do that, like if I was riding a streak, I'd wear the same pair of sanitary hose which is probably a long gone term today. Guys know what sanitary hose. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't my superstition, but I was very regimented. Even though I'm ADD and in my mind is like a circus sometimes, when it came to training, the things I was supposed to do in a certain day or between starts, I did them. And there was no wavering. There was no maybes. There was no, I'll skip this one. It was, I'm going to do it. And that's just the end of it. So I don't know if superstition or driven or what, but it was, if you got me out of my routine from diet to work to lifting to whatever, that freaked me out a little bit, probably more than it should have.
Isn't it amazing how much the game has evolved when it comes to physical fitness and diet and what the game is doing now compared to what you did when you were when you were playing? And even just, I think I caught the cusp of where it was starting to change because I know as you were getting out of it, steroids were really becoming rampant in our sport. But I also look at just the physical fitness and how it's really evolved through the game. And you have 3 boys, so you're really entrenched in this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really been an intriguing thing for me to watch because you talk about being an outlier. Mm-hmm. I got to college in 86, and then my dad, to back up a couple of steps, my dad, he played football for Southern Miss. I got my Southern Miss shirt on now. My wife actually played softball there. But I grew up in a little mountain town called Lucedale, Mississippi, which is right across the state line from Mobile and about an hour from Hattiesburg, where Southern Miss is located. And he was a football player for Southern Miss, but he was a big guy. He had my frame, but just a lot more mass on him, and a heck of an athlete. And my athleticism transferred to baseball. And I've got 3 boys. One of them excels more in football and javelin. The other one excels more in baseball. Still a good football player. So it's been interesting to see how those things have kind of played out. But I lifted weights. I mean, I weighed 142 pounds when I graduated high school. I mean, I was so skinny. It's amazing. But I was a decent high school pitcher because I threw reasonably hard. I didn't blow people away, but I had a knuckleball, nasty knuckleball, like 14 years old. I could drop it on a dime, and the catcher couldn't catch it and the hitter couldn't hit it. And that's what really got me to success. But I had my dad to show me how to lift. I didn't understand much about nutrition. But when I went to college, I put on about 35 pounds, and I was literally the only pitcher on the whole staff that worked out. I did squats like it was a second job. and my third year there, it all kind of fell into place. And I went from being a very low 80s pitcher to being a very upper 80s touching 90 pitcher, which, if you're left-handed and you can touch 90 on a ray gun 30 years ago, people showed up. And, that's what got me noticed and got me drafted. But the things I was doing that even when I got to the Orioles in 1990, I went to camp my second year, and they shut me down on squats. You can't do squats, Hale. Like, what do you mean I can't do squats? Well, it's bad for your knees. It's bad for your, it's just not good for pitching. Like, I don't throw with my leg. Well, you throw your legs, but you throw your arm. So I went and joined a gym around the corner, and every third, fourth day, when a squat day, I'd leave spring training, get in my car, drive a mile down the road, and do squats. But even on the road, when I was playing minor league ball, if I couldn't find my way to a gym, I'd wrap a piece of rope around a door handle somewhere or a door facing. I'd do one-legged squats. I mean, I found a way to get them in. But to get back to your question, I'll get off on rabbit trail. That's what's really the things that I was doing, lifting wise. If you don't do them now, you really don't stand a chance, and in some regards. And people have realized how important strength is. They've added the nutritional component really started coming around about the time I got out of the game in 96. That's when the metric shake showed up. Protein powders became more palatable. Used to, if you were going to get a protein shake down, you had to have a half a gallon of milk or something to go with it. It was like drinking ground up chalk. It was horrible. And you put 2 scoops of protein and 4 ounces of water these days and shoot it down. So it's really been amazing to see what has changed as far as that aspect of all sports. And that's why we're seeing, just the athleticism that people have today across the board. I mean, I've never was a spectator. I love watching college football now, but when I got done playing, I want to go home. I mean, I was not, it didn't interest me. I didn't like watching other people play. I wanted to play. Love to train, love to compete, love to play. But other than that, I want to go to the house. But I will sit and watch people these days, some of these young athletes, and just be amazed at the sheer athleticism and power these kids have. That, if I'd have known what they knew back when I played, how much better could I have been? How much better could we all have been?
Yeah, you can always go back and kind of second guess that. Like, man, if would I have done that, So I know we can go into baseball and really get into this. One of the things that I was really excited to have you on the show for is because, I talked to so many people. I myself experienced it. Of course, obviously you did as well too. That setback in your life where you're chasing that dream, you're chasing plan A. There is no plan B. And you wake up one day and you're going, okay, God, like, what am I supposed to do with my life? And I've really appreciated your journey and how you've been able to share that on the platforms that we have access to through social media. I'm curious to know the 1/6 project. You really kind of go into to depth on that on your on this last blog that you did in that article. Can you talk to the people that are listening to this about that project? You're I don't want to say you're broken, but you're most certainly.
That's a good word.
Broken. You're not living your dream.
Yeah, that really came about. It's really hard to boil down to an elevator speech. I'll do my best, and if I get long-winded, feel free to cut me off or change the subject. The jersey you see behind me, that's my dad's football jersey that he wore at Southern Miss when he was a football player there. Ironically, he signed a contract to kick for the Colts, and I signed in Baltimore, and I signed a contract to play baseball with the Colts. With the Orioles in Baltimore. So that was kind of ironic. But I grew up in that jersey. I mean, there used to have 2 of them, and one of them finally wore apart, just fell apart. But I literally would sleep in that, as a kid. And you sleep in underwear and t-shirt. And I slept in that jersey. I mean, I grew up in that jersey. And so it was always real special to me. And it got put away somewhere. And I went to South Alabama, and I was able to get number 16 my freshman year. So I wore 16 my entire collegiate career. A couple of times in my pro career, I finished up at 96 with number 16. I had a number made go around my neck. That's actually, I got a cross from my neck now, but I wore that number, my whole career from college through pro ball, etc. And you fast forward to, probably I left ball 96, went to work in corporate sales, been 10 years there. And after that, went to real estate, and I picked the worst time to go to real estate, about 6 months before the bubble busted in 2008 when I went to the real estate market, and it got dinged up there pretty bad. I'm still in it today, and it's worked out, but it was a tough time. So there's a lot of variables in that chain equation that got the 1/6 project kicked off, but it was financial mess. It was my wife and I had both changed careers. We had a third child on the way that was not on our day planner. She's in school finishing up her master's. We've already got 2 small kids. Just a lot of any of those by themselves for a lot. And then you add them all up, and it was a tough time. And I like to say sometimes that's when I was coming to the end of what I call the Shade and Hale Expressway. And I had reached a point in life to where I knew that if you could have handed me a check to pay all my bills, that would have been great. But I knew that was not going to fix what I was missing. I knew that wasn't going. That's just nothing. But nothing can give you that. Nothing can help you get there except life. You've got to go out and live it, mess it up, do it right, do it wrong. But it wasn't another hobby I needed, or another career, or another advancement, or another win, or another truck, or another whatever. It was nothing the world had to offer. And I was raised in a Christian home. I never got too far off in the weeds. Never fooled with drugs. I mean, I drank, ran the roads a little bit when I was a young man, but I had my limits. I never came off the rails like some people did at all. And my career kept me on track a lot because I had to be in shape. And I found myself one night sitting at this table. You can't see it. And I knew that my way back was not going to be a quick fix. It wasn't going to be a pill. God wasn't going to wave his magic God wand and just fix my life for me. And I dubbed it the 1-6 Project, because basically what I've been trying to find for the last several years was that just consuming fire I felt playing ball. I love to play, love to compete. I love to train. I loved all that. I was on fire for it, passionate about it. Not only was it just my identity, but that's what I love, man. That's all I've ever been. It was like a drug to me. That's what I fought and trained and to keep being able to get it, to keep being able to play. And of course those days are behind me. And I started looking from a faith perspective. Okay. Okay. Go find God. How do you find God? Well, one of my pastors, Alan Floyd, told me several years ago, there's 4 ways you find God, Shane. He said, you find him through the Bible, through his word, through prayer, through our life circumstances, and through the church being the people. Well, there's church service, small group, doesn't matter. And that was really, as time went by, those 4 avenues were, that's where I found God at. But the 1-6 Project was my quest to fix me. And I wrote it down. I should have dug it out. It's behind me on a note card. It's in front of one of my boxes of stuff. But I drew a T-shirt out on an actual index card, the outline of a T-shirt, and I put the 1-6 Project on it. This is like middle of the night one night. And I never told anybody about this. I didn't tell anybody about this for probably a couple of years. I even told my wife, my kid. I was going through a mess. Nobody knew what the mess I was going through except for me. I mean, they had an idea. My mom did, and my wife did, of course. Outside of that, Shane's life's perfect. Got a pretty wife, got pretty kids, got a nice house. The empty mess inside. And shortly after that, I went and reserved the 16project.com website. Yep. Just simply on the whim. I mean, I didn't realize it then, but I'm kind of giving God access to my life. God's starting to work in my life and getting some ideas. And I just went and reserved that website because something told me, go reserve this. It's going to be something one day. And would have sounded crazy to try and tell somebody that. And about a year and a half later, a fellow named Chris Wayne, who was an associate of my wife, went to school together. They get their master's at the same time at the University of Alabama. He reached out to me and said, hey, I started putting some stuff on Facebook at that point and was, getting on, say a following. And that was how I kind of expressed what was working in my life, what God's doing in my life. And he said, hey, you need I never met this guy, never laid eyes on him. He sent me a message out of the blue, says, hey man, I love what you write. You need a bigger audience. I want to build you a blog. I was like, okay. He said, do you have a web address? Well, matter of fact, I do. I've had it for a couple of years. There goes that, the need to have it reserve that website. So that's how the 16project.com blog came along. And I just referred to myself as the 1-6 Projects. I mean, I was trying to rekindle that fire from my baseball career, number 16. As you know, from baseball player, I mean, I'm sure your nickname was JK. Mine was Shaner. Everybody has a baseball handle. If they play, they'll give anybody a baseball handle. And of course, your number is always 1-6. I could be at a ball game today and hear somebody holler at a kid, come on, 1-6. And my head just, kind of perks up. But that in a nutshell is where the 1-6 Project came from. It was my quest to fix myself, which I knew was going to be a project. I just didn't know when I first set out that, basically what I was trying to find was that big hole inside of me that I'd stuck everything this world had to offer in, was missing God. And you can stick everything you can find in the God hole, man, but until you put God in there, you're going to be one empty dude. And he started working in my life, doing amazing things, bringing people into my life like you right now. You're just one of many that have just showed up. Just, you kind of attract what you put out. But it's just, I've been, as I like to say, in the boat for, I don't know, 5-6 years now. And, no plans to get out. I keep enjoying seeing what God's got got for me next. He fulfilled me. The identity I had in baseball that I worked so hard to find in life doing other things, is in Christ now. And that's the thing that I missed about ball was that was my identity. And so when I left ball, fortunately, after a couple of years, I walked into a job in sales. I was traveling the country and flying first class, staying in nice hotels, eating fat steaks. As I like to say, big shotting around. And life was good. So I went from one. I don't say my career was a failure. I think it was a setup for what I'm doing. For what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But I went from one success to another success. And it wasn't until the end of, in my mid 40s when I'm bleeding money. My dad's dying of cancer. My mother-in-law's dying of cancer. I've got third child in the way. I have no idea if we're going to pay for this, that, and the other, where my life just came crashing down. And I had no identity in anything except being a failure. And that was the only person who was carrying that baggage around was me. I didn't realize that, practically, God, how many people have I talked to that, I thought I was it. Everybody else's life is a tailgate party and mine's a dumpster fire. And I could not have been further from the truth. So many people go through so many things. I think as men, I can't speak for women because I have no idea. I hadn't figured them out yet at all. Thank God I found one that could tolerate me and myself. But we're terrified of being a failure. We're terrified of failing at something in life and being labeled a failure. And it wasn't until recently, I say recently in the last couple of years, that I realized that a lot of my work ethic and my drive, which I was proud of, I'm still proud of. I went through, I was an example to follow. I'm proud of myself, how I handled my minor league career and 2 arm surgeries and just my attack of doing that. But I realized now it was driven not so much out of love for baseball. I love what I was doing, but it was fear. I wasn't getting sent back home. You're not sending me back to Lewiston, Mississippi. I didn't realize it until, in the last couple of years, I was just, a large part of my work. I wanted to play in the big leagues. That was my goal, but I was scared of getting sent back home. I was scared of getting, I watched guys get released and pack their stuff up and go. And not me, brother. I'm not going back home. I'm not going back home with failure. And I think that's a great example of, baseball that gave it, some real tangible. Okay, I was scared of that happening, so I did this. But we make decisions out of fear all the time, and I think that's one of Satan's greatest tools against us is fear. If he can keep us where we're at, if he can keep us anchored right where we are, then we're not a threat. We can't reach anybody. We can't mess his plans up. And maybe that's why he works hard to keep me where I was at, because I see what God's done in my life since I gave him control of it. I still take the wheel back sometimes, and the road gets bumpy, I give it back to him. But it's just if Satan can keep us where we're at, the same version we are today, and not any better, not any more useful, he wins. Mm-hmm. And that's why I keep trying to just look for, when God gives me the opportunity to do something for him or for his kingdom, I'm like, I'm in, I'll do it. And he just keeps giving more opportunities to do that. But I feel like I've gotten way off track from what you asked me to talk about.
No, you're good, brother. Yeah, we're right on track, actually, because one of the things you brought up real briefly, which I love, you coined this phrase, is get in the boat. Mm-hmm. I was talking to my wife about this last night, and it was a great conversation that we were able to have afterwards. But interested to know, obviously it's a biblical term. I know why. I'm just assuming I know why you said it, but maybe give our audience a little bit of that, because
where it came from.
Every one of your blogs that you write, you have that at the end, and I love it. It's a really great call to action, but it's a very subliminal message that you're saying as well too. So give us a little bit of insight.
Well, I can tell you exactly where that came from. You probably heard the joke. Most people have. I was in 8th grade and had a friend named Eddie Courtney, and Eddie's one of the funnier guys ever. He had a huge sense of humor. Yeah, the kid's just funny. We're 13 years old, and he told this joke about this farmer that was living in a floodplain, we'll say Mississippi Delta, and it's going to flood. It floods every year. Yeah. Sheriff came by, said, "Look, Jim Bob, it's going to flood. It's going to be a big one this year, worse than ever. You get prepared. You need to get out of here." Jim Bob's like, "I'll be fine. Lord's going to take care of me." So a couple of days later, sure enough, he's water's in the front yard, and sheriff comes by in his big jacked up truck. Same conversation. Lord's going to take care of me. A couple of days later, the sheriff comes by in a boat. Jim Bob's in the front porch in the rocking chair. Water's up to the top step. Same exercise. Lord's going to take care of me. Yep. Comes back a couple of days later in a real boat. Jim Bob's on the roof with his dog. And same thing, Lord's going to take care of me. Comes by the next day in a helicopter. He's standing on the roof. Same thing, Lord's going to take care of me. And a couple of days later, the water consumes him and he dies. And Jim Bob goes to heaven. He's like, what gives, God? I've dedicated my life to you. He said you'd take care of me. Hold up right there, Jim Bob. I sent you the same sheriff in a truck, 2 boats, and 2 helicopters. What else you want me to do?
Yeah.
And the boat part kind of got my attention. He messed up the boat. We all just died laughing at the joke because they'd probably been set up for something else, but it was really funny today. And I just never forgot the joke. And then I heard it more. I heard it a couple of times over. Yeah, as I grew up, I did different versions of it. And then one day it's like, man, that's not, if I'm not Jim Bob, I don't know who is. I mean, I'm sitting here asking God to fix this and fix that, take care of me, do this. Like, how many times I got to send you a boat, Shane? How many times I got to put on your heart to get my Bible out and read it, to get back in church, to join a small group, to bing, 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 just keep ringing them off. I mean, I'm like, that dude is no different than me. And so that's where getting the boat came from. At that point, I guess I'd probably gotten in the boat. And then you'll hear people say, okay, you got to get out of the boat. Well, we've maybe heard that one too. And I think a good analogy of it is, God will take us dinged up, muddied up, whatever, just get in the boat with me. Okay. Yeah. Just get in the boat. He's happy to have you there. But at some point, you got to pick up a paddle and start helping. You got to start paddling that boat, or you get to a point where like, all right, you're good now, go get your own boat, go get somebody else. And I think that's kind of a progression that a lot of people go through. I mean, God's good. He's happy to have you in the boat, and you can, realistically, you can just stay there and just be in the boat your whole life. But if you really want to, see what God's got in store for you, you got to pick up a paddle and start paddling that boat. You got to go out and get some more people, maybe get your own boat, maybe help them get their boat. And I think that's where sharing your faith comes in. That's where do your part comes in. Get in the boat. Getting the boat is just that. It's basically, that's a message to, people that were kind of going through what I was going through years ago, whether you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, I think, you need some life. You need to live some life to get to a point where you realize that, okay, I'm chasing something, but what is it? I keep sticking stuff inside of me. You're trying to, so I can just get this or get that, or, gain 10 pounds or lose 10 pounds or get the new car or get the bigger house or just whatever it is. But that's not it. And finally, you've got to realize, excuse me, it's God you're missing. It's faith. It's His purpose in your life. That's kind of the crowd that I kind of try and speak to with a lot of stuff I write. I mean, the stuff I write is not, I don't ever try and point my finger at people. I don't ever try to be preachy. As a friend of mine named Neil mentioned one time, he's like, Shane's not preachy. I like that. I don't want to be preached to. I don't want to preach to at all. I want somebody to talk to me. But my goal is to make people think and just relay the things that I've been through or done or realized, to kind of nudge them that way so that they do get in the boat. Because once you give God access to your life, He starts working in your life, you're like, wow, okay, this is really cool. These things never happened before. And that feeling I got when God started working in my life and started doing things in my life with the same fire, when I started sharing those things with people, was the same feeling I got when I was playing ball. I got the feeling back I was looking for. And from there, it just kind of gained momentum. And as long as I do my part, He keeps doing His part. And I have bad days. I mess things up. I apologize to people sometimes. Man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that like that. I'm human. Right. But that's where getting the boat came from. Just that joke from my friend Eddie all these years ago.
Well, and then you followed up once again, and you've said it a couple of times, is get in the boat and then do your part, which takes the action part of it, which I think I love it. One of the things as I was discovering life after baseball, and when you feel like your purpose died, it's really hard to change the story in your head. And I think one of the things that I continue to keep hearing from you is that you've been able to grow out of that chapter of your life. You've found this greater purpose. You realize that baseball wasn't your purpose, even though it was plan A for so long of your life. It was really God allowing you to get to that point where either it was through the complete humility, right? The brokenness that He needed to take so many of us on in our journey to realize that we really needed Him. And the more that we gave up of our control, the better it became with our relationship with Him. And, I love the fact of, our tests become our testimony, and you've done a fantastic job of living that out in your life right now. So I'm just curious, as you continue to push and say yes, right? The reason why you're where you're at right now is because you keep saying yes to what you believe God's doing in your life. What's the next chapter for you looking like? I know your boys are getting older. They're going to get into college. You're becoming an empty nester, all those things. Like what do you feel like you're being called to do in this next season of your life?
I'll be honest with you. I was looking at your website yesterday and I'm looking at all the stuff you're doing. I'm like, I wonder what that guy's doing. That looks like fun.
Yeah.
I want to write books. I'd love to speak. I'm a realtor. Real estate pays the bills. Buying and selling, helping people buy and sell houses pays the bills. I'm sure my writing and sharing has brought people into my life that's where some of my clients came from. But I guess to answer your question, I really don't know. I've got to keep selling real estate. That's my livelihood. But I don't know what right word's enthralled. It's just, I look at what people like yourself are doing, writing books and having opportunities to speak and basically just lift people up and encourage them. That looks like fun to me. I'm sure I see all the good stuff. Like you said, I see the fluffy stuff. I see the success. I see the books, the podcast, the on and on. What I'm not seeing is all the stuff you did to get where you are today, which I'm sure was a long road. And I'm sure it continues to grow.
Still is a long road.
Still a long road. Well, you're never really there. It's where is there? Where people, I can't wait till I get there. Well, where exactly is there? Okay. Yeah. But I've got one thing I've got now that I didn't have years ago is I've got faith that whatever. It's not that I just leave in the future to chance, but God's going to work it out. I had no idea 3 or 4 years ago, before talking to you today. I didn't have a blog back then. I just had this calling God put on my heart to write and share what He's doing in my life. If there's been one distinct thing He's told me is share your faith. I won't give you the whole story for that. I probably should write about it one day, but it clear as a bell. It was like I've never heard God's audible voice speaking to me, but I've learned to recognize His voice. And this was like occasionally it comes through with the force of lightning, and it was share your faith. And that's what I do. And the more I do that, the more doors open. And people have told me forever, yeah, you should write a book. You should write a book. Well, I've written several books. They're just problem is they're in index cards and legal pads and piles behind me on this desk. It would be great to put them into a book and that I could give to somebody that might be going through the struggles I went through, or whose life is going great, and they read it and go, wow, this guy's life kind of fell apart. Maybe I should listen. But I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, raising my kids, love my wife. I enjoy cooking for people and enjoy my sons have people over for get-togethers. And, I'm a giver. I like giving to people. I like feeding people. I love a gathering. I'm an introvert by nature, believe it or not. I can just kind of step out of that for certain things. But my hope is that God keeps opening doors. He has continued to keep opening doors for me. But it's not really something I want to do. So you can say, look at Shane. I've been through enough life at my age to look back and go, okay, there are people out there that are stuck in the same place I was stuck at all those years ago, who look like things are great on the outside, on the inside, they are searching. Yeah. And if my life can point them towards God, towards Christ, that's what I want to happen. That's what I can't take anything in this world with me. If I can leave behind some, that breadcrumbs like in Hansel and Gretel, so they follow out of the woods, if I remember got the story right. That's great, but I just, I'm excited each day about what God does in my life. I've gotten my health back. Go back about 6 or 7 years ago, man, I was overweight for me, and my joints hurt. I just had all kind of I go to the doctor for an annual visit and check all these boxes about what, any issues you got. Bing, 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 bing. I don't check a single one now. My cholesterol is high. I eat a lot of meat, but I feel 100% better. I've got back in the weight room, and and I've started looking at my body not just as okay, well, I'm getting old. Well, I'm going to get older. We can't help getting old, but God's given me a life. I think He's got a plan for my life. He's given me a vehicle to experience this life in. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to fine tune it as best I can, and I'm going to feed it the best food I can. And hopefully He'll give me a bunch of miles. This is not a rental. I can't turn it back in. Yeah, right. But I really enjoy pointing people towards health. And I told somebody today, the fellow I was talking to, I need to do this, I need to do that. So the first thing you need to do is get your health back, because it doesn't matter what else you do until you're healthy. Life's going to suck for you, at least at that aspect. And it's just there's so many people I see. If they would just take some small steps to get their health back, their whole life would start perhaps to change.
Yeah.
I just enjoy encouraging people. I mean, if God chooses to give me the ability to make a living doing that one day, then great. But it's, like I've told myself a while back, I told my kids the other day, one of them wanted to do, my middle child wants a better curveball. Well, great. Then get busy throwing curveballs. Yeah, I can help you with that one. But, if you want to be a speaker, get busy speaking. If you want to,
Exactly.
have a platform to promote God, then get busy promoting God. If you want to be a mechanic, then go be a mechanic. But get busy doing whatever it is you want to do. Get busy doing it. And that's the first step to anything.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I look at what you're doing. I'm like, great. I mean, that's for what it's worth. I look at the life that you put together for yourself, the things you've worked hard to accomplish, and I'm like, I wonder what that guy's doing. That looks like fun. That looks like a fun day right there.
I think it's.
Like I said before I forget, I was watching one of your videos. Y'all were training out, and we don't have snow here in Mobile, and we have humidity. And so my wife's helping me get my Zoom call set up, and we're clicking through a few things. I was like, yeah, check his webpage out. And she's like, I'm trying to get the Zoom thing set up, Shane. Like, yeah, but check his, that's my ADD kicking in. She's trying to be, she's polar opposite of me. She's trying to get this thing set up. And I'm like, yeah, check his video out. And so it was kind of, y'all were running through the snow and you had on like a black hat and shirt, and then you're training, y'all are doing something. I'm like, I want to run in the snow with a black hat on, like JK's doing. She's like, would you pay attention? But anyway, it was,
we'll get you up to one of our Kingsman events, man. You can come up here and do it.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I'll come in the wintertime when it's cold.
Yeah. Well, at that event right there was in September. There should have been no snow, but it was amazing how God worked through that, because it ended up being the perfect elements for what we needed for that event. So
that's how it works.
That's exactly right, man. Well, hey, as we wrap up here, first of all, I just want to say, I'm so glad. I've been really wanting to get you on the show. I've been following you for a while. I've been really inspired by your words. Having put my first book out there, I know how hard it is to translate, what we say and what we talk about into writing, and getting that, and getting our message out, but also just getting how we talk out in writing. So I have tremendous respect for how you've been able to do that. You're a fantastic writer. You're a great blogger, very inspirational. And I look forward to every one of your posts that you put out there. It just, once again, it definitely does fill my cup as well too. So, and you've been pushing me, once again, this has been part of my growth, is reaching out back to that side of my life that I really shut the door on for many, many years. So I really got to thank you for opening up that avenue, because one of the things I didn't want to do is get back into it and into the old style, that old lifestyle, because that's the old me. That's the me that I don't ever want to go back to. Right. So to be able to see men like you in that group living the life that I am choosing to live as well too, is just really inspirational and been fantastic. So looking forward to
one quick thing before we wrap up. You mentioned something just reminded me of a point. I was never mad baseball didn't work out. I mean, I was able to leave on my terms. I never got released. Never had to pack my stuff and leave. I left, on my terms. Realized what a blessing that was until years down the road. Mm-hmm. But as time went by, I'm like, God, why did you give me all this talent and all this work ethic? And when I wasn't hurt, I was good, man. I was on the big leagues. I mean, I was. It's just that simple. I mean, I had all the tools, I had the work ethic, I had everything. My body wouldn't cooperate. It wouldn't stay together. And I'm like, why did you give me all this work ethic? To bring me so close to not get there. And finally, I didn't really ask that question often, but it crossed my mind. And one day, just out of the clear blue, I had the thought, why? And it's like it came to me like a clear as a bell. It's a shame. I never needed a ball player. I needed a man with a story. Mm-hmm. And awesome. And the ability and the willingness to go out there and tell it. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. I can live with that. Yeah. Only if you can see it behind me, that bottom of that picture. No regrets. Yep. A friend of mine had those bumper stickers made. It's Nathan Cox. He's the owner of our real estate company, Bellator. He owns a lot of companies, kind of like you. Just a fantastic guy. He's an ex-Marine, just an amazing fella. But he had a slogan every year, and years ago that was a slogan. And I took that and just stuck it on the bottom of that picture because I really don't have any regrets. And it's kind of a reminder to me. Okay, Shane, you're 52. Many more days you got, man. Spring chicken. You're not old, but I mean, if there's something you want to do, you need to get busy doing it. But no matter how old somebody is, I mean, figure out don't live your life with regrets. Pick up the phone and call somebody you hadn't talked to. I mean, but that's kind of a reminder for me, not just for baseball, it applies, but just, I don't want to get to the end of my life and regret. I don't want to walk into heaven and God say, come here, let me show you all the things you could have been. Yeah. if you'd have just trusted me, if you'd have just stepped out on your faith, if you just had the fortitude to go, wow, I don't see this. This is scary as I'll get out, but I'm going to step out there and do it, see what God does with it. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that does.
Love it, buddy. Well, we have a lot in common, man. We'll have to catch up some other time, and I kind of share some of.
We're special. We're lefties.
Yeah, that's exactly right, brother. So,
all right, well, man. Hey, thank you so much for having me. This has been fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did too. And I know our audience is going to take away some great things from it. So I appreciate your time, the opportunity to sit here and kind of jam about life, baseball, and the greater chapters of our life that we're pursuing. So,
and hopefully they can understand what I said, because I don't speak so slowly sometimes.
I will tell you, when I got off the phone with you this morning, my wife came back and I was like, I just got off the phone with Shane. I said, man, that guy has got an accent.
It's a little bit thick. Hey, I got to tell you this. I know you got to go. When I got drafted my first year in 1990, I went to they sent me to Wisconsin. And I literally had to not learn how to talk, but nobody could understand a word I said. I mean, because I talk so fast. And you think about accent now, I'll find I was in Alaska in '89 played in the Alaskan League. I found some tapes of me years ago to make videotapes, VHS, big old camcorder, shoulder cam. I'd film those and send them back home in the mail to show everybody, because we were years away from having the internet at that point. And I found a couple of those tapes and plugged them in. I was like, my gosh, did I have an accent? You think I've got an accent now. It was thick. So yeah, it's right back now. It gets a little thick sometimes. So
yeah, that's awesome. Right, well, I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for being on the show, and we most certainly will be staying in touch with each other.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to meeting you one day.
All right, my man. All right, guys. Well, hey, once again, this was an awesome opportunity to meet, to talk with Shane. I know that he brought some great value to you. And as always, if this meant something to you, if this would resonate with somebody that we just ask you to share it. So, you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and we definitely look forward to talking with you.